Hello, everyone, and welcome to another NintendoFuse Game Chat. Today, we're talking all about Macross Shooting Insight for the Nintendo Switch. So, Macross Shooting Insight is a shmup game that mixes multiple different shmup styles. The story is a brand new original story, but it takes characters from five different Macross anime series: Macross Plus, Macross 7, Macross Zero, Macross Frontier, and Macross Delta, where it's like this time anomaly story. Everything folds in, and there's pilots from all those anime brought to the Battle 7. And from there, you have to save the songstress, or at least one of the songstress from one of the worlds, and pretty much, stop the end of the world and all that stuff. So it's a brand new original story. This was a big anime. Obviously, it's based off of that. The language is Japanese dub, English localization for the first time. This is published by Red Art Games. Its release date is February 7th, 2025, so it just came out. We got codes from PR Hound, so thank you very much for that. And Steve, let's go to you first and see what you think.
I knew nothing about Macross going into this. So just a heads up, like sorry for all the fans that are out there. They're like, oh my gosh, you don't know anything about it. Yes, I know nothing about it. We'll just get that out at the very beginning. So there is so much dialogue in the beginning of this game. And the character I chose was actually getting really impatient. It seemed like during like I just want to get into the flight, and I felt it too. So the very beginning of the game, I'm just like, I'm playing a shmup. I want to shoot things. I want to fly. I don't want to shoot things. This is why I'm playing this game. But there's a lot of dialogue, and luckily you can skip all the dialogue, but there's still a lot. So, but you can skip it. And I wasn't given any really reason to care about it because I didn't know much about the story at all. So it was like I was learning about all these things, but I'm not attached to anybody or anything like that. So I had that going into it. Um, one weird thing is because I don't know any of the characters, there's a character named McKenna, an aircraft mechanic. I have no idea why she's dressed like that if she's a mechanic. Um, that's not a mechanic. Like she's like, I don't know where she's going or what she's going to be doing, but she's not dressed like you would expect if you're going to be working on an aircraft. And
Japanese
then
anime, Steve.
I know. Um, and then like the menus have some sort of glitch or something where they don't load properly. Sometimes pulling in like the wrong screen for like a microsecond and then switching to the from screen to screen. It's like it like doesn't load exactly as it should. And it's not like game breaking or anything like that. But I was like, well, that's kind of weird. And it kept doing it over and over again, which is interesting. Um, the directions were also way too long. Like as you're starting this game, like I was overwhelmed by them. And funny enough, the game even acknowledges that there was a lot to take in. It even says that in the dialogue. Yeah, there's probably a lot to take in, but you'll get the hang of it after a while. It would have been better if you just threw me in a tutorial mission instead and just taught me as I played, instead of just throwing a ton of instructions at me at the very beginning. Then we get into the game itself. Visuals look really solid and crisp. I was really impressed by what it looked like, but it's also sometimes hard to tell what's in your actual plane of playing, and because it's a 3D plane and you're like, is that in the background or is that in the foreground or is that where I am, and can I shoot that thing or do I need to avoid it? And so I just end up shooting everywhere and dodging everything all the time, just to be sure. There's also times where when it's really hard to know what's going on because of explosions and stuff going on the screen. I was going to avoid something, and then all of a sudden, like an explosion happens, and I can't see anymore. And so I sometimes end up getting shot because there was a pink laser or red laser that was coming through all that, and I didn't see it because there was an explosion. And then yeah, I think switching from top down to vertical, to twin stick shooter to free roaming space, all that was cool, but I wasn't expecting it. I think, and when I learned a little bit about this game before I played it, because I went in mostly blind, I knew that there was different styles, but I thought you got to choose between them. I didn't realize it just like switched on you throughout the story. So like learning each of those took just a little bit to adjust and everything, but I still like I don't know why it's switching. Um, there is amazing voiced dubbed speech that's happening throughout the whole thing, but because it's all in Japanese, I have no clue what is going on. They're talking like crazy. I'm sure that there is some story that is going on. Down in the bottom right hand corner, there is an English translation of everything, but it's happening while all this chaos is happening on the screen and I'm trying to shoot. There is no way I'm reading what is going on in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, and so I still have no clue what is going on in this game. So I'm shooting. Oh, sometimes I switch to vertical. Cool. I'm shooting. Oh, sometimes I switch to horizontal. Cool. And sometimes I switch to twin stick. Okay, cool. So I'm like I'm having fun, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm collecting. I don't know why I'm collecting it. I don't know what ships are after me. I don't know what's going on in the story. I don't know these characters. Like I just feel, but the game is fun. I'm having a fun time when it comes to the actual flying and shooting. But the lengthy dialogue sections are kind of a pain, and sometimes happens like right in the middle of the gameplay. I'm like, oh, this is cool, cool, cool. Oh, now we're gonna stop and put some dialogue things on the screen. Okay, back to the. And so I ended up just skipping it because I don't care. Like, which I'm glad you can do that. But I just have no idea what is going on in this game. I think the last thing I want to say before you said it, those pink lasers are the most annoying thing in the world because you can't shoot them down. And so I just ended up spinning my ship all the time just to avoid the lasers because that was the only way you could do it. Just spin, spin, spin all the time. So holding down the shoot button and spinning. That's how I avoid them.
So yeah, I chose. So this, I believe there's five different stories depending on which of the characters you choose from, because they're all in the story no matter what. So I picked the top characters, and I'm guessing they're from the oldest of the anime because like the ships were ground ships, and they're like, oh yeah, we're in space. You can't fly in space. And I'm like, well, we can retrofit the ship and make it so it can fly in space. And like, well, but you don't know how. And it's like, well, I can fly on the ground. I could do this. Let's go. And it was like really cool. And like there here we are now. I'm using like a ground like more standard jet fighter in space, which was kind of cool. And I like that there's different storylines there. And I always love stories where people come from like mashups. I always love team ups. It's always been my favorite thing. So I also don't know Macross though, so I couldn't enjoy it like I probably would have loved to, because I haven't seen all these anime. And I also did not know the story, so I followed along. I watched all the dialogue. I didn't skip it. I read through all the dialogue for the first character story. Like you, I absolutely hate it when they give story during a mission and I have to read. In a shmup, I can't do that. I'm focusing on the gameplay. I understand, and I do not fault Red Art. Doing a voice dub is expensive. It's expensive enough doing the translation, and they didn't even have to do those translations, but they did. So I give them props for doing those translations. That is an unfortunate thing to be expected. It's like you're lucky this game even has English, because it's not a very likely normally to even come out localization in America. And it's definitely one that you could have imported without English and still enjoyed it for the shmup sections. So the fact that there is English here is great, so you can try to enjoy the story. Um, I thought the gameplay was fun. I thought it controlled well. And there's like seeker missiles. I rarely use them. There's also things
Pretty
you can
exciting when you do though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's like things you can collect, and I guess they're like artifacts from each of the different eras and each of the different, because like, I'm guessing all the anime take place in different eras. And the songstress I was trying to rescue was from this character's era, so I'm assuming like you're probably trying to rescue from the character you pick's era. And I'm wondering how much of a difference there is. I wasn't even sure that there was multiple stories. I think it's 10 levels, so it was a good chunk. There was also like a versus mode, but I only had one person unlocked, so I was able to fight in the versus, and it was like a one-on-one, like a brand new boss, and it was like giving me based on time. But I had a lot of fun. I thought the like I said, the switching the modes didn't bother me at all. I thought that was kind of fun and just unique. And like I love the it's something with Japanese anime, right? You know, like if you're watching a good anime, and even just mainly Japanese stuff, but sometimes Americans do it too. But when the theme music starts playing, right, you know shit's going down. Like you know it's happening. Like when the songstress are singing, you get a special boost. You get perks and stuff when like the actual song's on, and you're like, oh, now it's going
Mm.
down. I don't know what picks those boosts. I don't know what happens with it, but it just
Um,
happens, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I guess we're doing this now. Um, I don't know that what they're singing because it's in Japanese. Again, I do not fault them for not translating that. That is a lot of work. But I did have a lot of fun with it. With it, truly. Like we've played some shmups for review, you and I, that have
Yeah.
definitely been shmups in a technical term. This was
Yeah.
not it. I did not struggle with this. I had fun throughout the whole game. I did play on the easier difficulty, but I never found it difficult, and it was like I probably could have bumped this up and still been fine. So I'll go back to you, Steve. You have more notes. Let you talk
Hmm.
some more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the you mentioned like the when the song kicks in and everything, it actually ended up because you end up speeding up during that time too. And those are times I'm like, I did not ask for this. Like, and there's like other things that come on the screen that just like complicated things. I'm like, I'm like, I don't want to speed up right now. I don't want the extra glitter to be all over the screen. But yeah, I think overall, I had a good experience, and we've like you said, we've played some really bad shmups in the past. This is not a really bad shmup, but there are some like quirky things to it that were like weird. Like some ships can only get shot when they're turned into mechs. That's weird. I was like, why can't I just shoot this thing? Nope, I have to wait for it to transform into a mech and then I can shoot it. Okay. And then some ships, it just seems like I can't shoot them at all. Um, and I think that points back to the whole 3D plane thing. I'm like, oh, those must be in the and like lower than me or higher than me or whatever, and you can't really tell. And so like there's things like that is it's just quirky and it doesn't ruin the experience, but it's just like why did they choose to do that? That's interesting. Um, and I think I mean, this is just another note that I wrote down. Why don't the levels go in order instead of going A, B, C, D, E? It's first it's A, C, then B, then F, then D. Like, what is that? Like, I expected
I thought they went
the
in
areas
order
to go
for
in order.
me.
Oh, well, the character I chose went A, C, B, F, D.
You know what? That's probably because all the stories are happening concurrently. And maybe
Oh,
another, like if you did AC, maybe another character's story happens in world B. It starts at B, and that happens in between.
maybe
That's
that
a
would make
theory.
sense. I just chose the first character, so I don't know. Um, yeah. And then also, I thought leaderboards were a great addition as well. Fantastic thing. But my scores were not on there, and I could not get them on there. And also, I couldn't see yours, Barry. So I was like, friends only. Nope. I viewed all the scores. Nope. So I don't
Huh.
know why they're not on there, and I also don't know why. Like, it doesn't auto refresh as you change to different filters on there. You have to press A every time to like refresh the scores, which I thought was a little weird as well. So
Well, mine
little
might not have been
quirky
there because
things.
of the very easy difficulty.
No,
That
yeah, I
might have.
changed it to very easy difficulty as well. Like you
Oh,
can, there's a bunch of different filters, which is kind of cool. Like I think they did, other than an auto refreshing not being a thing. I thought the leaderboards, how they did them, were really really well done. Even having leaderboards for the different difficulty settings. But yeah, I don't know why neither of ours were on there, but but in general, yeah, I think I've had a good experience with the gameplay overall. Um, Other than the little quirky things, I enjoyed it. But it's just like this whole other part of this game that I'm sure is some amazing story that I have no clue, no interest in, and I am not learning anything. Again, like you said, it's no fault of the game. It's just it's in Japanese and I can't understand Japanese, and there is no way that I'm going to be reading that dialogue box on the bottom while I'm shooting everything.
I kind of wish that this game started with like a movie that was just like a recap of the five different anime, talking about the five main protagonists and where they come from and all that stuff, and then see them actually brought to this world. That would be cool. But at least some kind of recap, because during the loading screen I noticed it showed different characters and showed different logos, and I was like, are we jumping between anime? Are these
Mm,
stories in the anime? Are these what ifs? Is this a new thing? Like, I wasn't aware until after I did research on it after I beat it, and I was like, oh, it's a new story that just brings in all these characters,
mm,
which is cool. But I didn't know that going in blind to Macross, and I don't think
yeah.
this is necessarily going to sell people on Macross, even though it seems really cool. You got ships turning into mechs. I mean, come on, that
Hmm.
seems really cool. But I wanted to know a little more backstory. There was definitely between the dialogues, there was definitely references to the respected animes, characters and stuff. Oh, back home we got so and so, and oh, I get to do this back there and whatever. Um, I like that too. I always like references, but I don't know those characters. I don't know those
Hmm.
worlds, so to me it means nothing. But to an avid anime fan of Macross, I'm sure it's everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Did
but
you
I do.
did you get to a point where you had like another aircraft with you at any point? Like you
Yeah,
had
one
a
one
flying
one I
bird?
did.
Did they do anything? Because mine did
No,
not.
I don't think
They
they did
couldn't. They
anything.
got
And
shot
then
at, but they didn't actually get
then we
shot. They
went to
didn't
like the
shoot.
boss, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll leave you the boss," and they left. And I was like, "Okay,
Oh,
you didn't do anything for
mine at
me
least
anyway."
flew around and stayed on the screen, just didn't do anything the whole time. I was like, what's the point of you
Eel was
being here?
there, it just didn't do anything, or at least nothing I noticed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did have one mission where I had a, and then he was a song like a singer or whatever,
Hmm.
and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go sing my rock ballad for someone," because I think that's what he did. I think he just sang the song to boost you. Is all he did.
Okay.
He
Hmm.
wasn't actually a fighter. At least in my story, that's the way it was. At least from my memory.
Maybe I
But
just started skipping dialogue at that point.
and see, this is why you don't skip dialogue. Yeah, then you sit there and go, "Why are you not shooting?" And the guy's like,
Nah,
"I'm singing
I
for
know.
you." You know.
I just wanted to fly and shoot things. That's all I wanted.
Well, you get to do that at least.
Yeah.
So Macross Shooting Insight, it is $39.99 on the eShop right now. Like I said, it came out February 7th. Red Art Games is publishing it. So, Steve, $39.99. Recommend, wait for a sale, or pass?
Okay. So I think if you are a fan of Macross, I don't even know anything about this anime, as we've said multiple times. But if you are a fan, this is probably an amazing game for you. You should get it. If you don't know anything about Macross at all, like us, and you're just going into it, I do have to say, probably steer clear. I think you could probably spend that much money on some other good shmups that you won't feel lost or confused in. Um, but if you're like, you know what, I'd be up for it. Like maybe wait for a sale. If you're kind of on the fence, wait for a sale. It's not a bad experience, but I just felt the whole time I'm just confused, and there are little quirks, and I'm like, me. I'm glad I didn't spend the money on this. But if I did, I would have probably been disappointed. But getting the codes, I'm like, yeah, I think it's a different categories. I think Macross fan, go for it. You're going to probably enjoy so much about this. But if you're not one, it probably depends on your level of do I want to dive into something I'm not really familiar with. The gameplay itself is fun, and so you're gonna have to weigh that out. So there's a lot of caveats to my answer this time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to echo a lot of that. If you're a Macross fan, then you don't need to hear what two people who don't know Macross have to say. You probably already bought it. You probably beat it. You've probably been like, I know all this stuff. How do you not know that this character is this and all that stuff? If you're interested in Macross or you're interested in shmups and that type of anime, then I would say wait for a sale because I don't necessarily think this game is going to sell you on the anime unless if you like the aesthetics. And it might, because I was honestly just watching it and seeing like the ships and the transformations. It looks cool. It looks like an anime I would like to watch. Whether I have the time or not is a different story. So it could theoretically gateway you into watching the anime. But that being said, as good as the gameplay is, and as fun as the gameplay is, I think you could find better or at least equal shmups at significantly cheaper than the $40 asking price right now. If it's on sale, that's a completely different ballgame. The game itself is great, and I want to state that the gameplay is great. The shmup part is fantastic. The controls well. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of action. There's collectibles. There's replayability. The story is where it loses me and just not being able to follow it. So again, it really depends on your love and necessity for story in a shmup. If you don't need a story for shmup and you have all the other shmups on the Switch, then by all means play this because you're going to get a good game. You can just skip all the dialogue and just ignore whatever they're saying. So again, we want to thank PR Hound for providing us codes. And again, this is out right now on the Switch. And if you enjoy reviews like this, please go to NintendoFuse.com and also right down below, subscribe to Nintendo Fuse here on YouTube. We have a ton of game chats like this, as well as our bi weekly podcast, industry interviews, and a bunch more content. So, Steve, thank you so much for joining me today. And everyone else out there, have a great day.